Warning, the following material is extremely disturbing. On Grave Matter, we try to be as accurate as possible and we collect information from many different sources. We don't condone or glorify murder, and we try to be as sensitive as possible to victims and their families while approaching a serious subject matter with a sense of humor. Listener discretion is advised.
All right. Welcome to episode Lucky 13 of The Grave Matter with Chris Lang and Jillian Gentry coming to you out of Murder Studios in Bertram, Texas. Hopefully that name's still available in 12 weeks when we can afford it. Actually, more like 12 years.
It's hot.
Hope you guys are doing all right today. Thank you for joining us. As always, we appreciate our fans so much. Go ahead.
I was going to say this is like it's an actual notable occasion where we're recording on the same day we're releasing the episodes.
Yeah, that's just because we're behind, but we'll call it a win-win, you know what I mean? So this will be released later today.
This is as live as we've been so far. All right.
We have a great show lined up for you today. We have two interesting people that we're going to be discussing. Jill, who are you talking about today?
I'm talking about Ricky Lee Green, and I did not know anything about this guy, but
Ricky
my
Bobby.
Lord.
Ricky Lee Green, where's he from?
Here, Texas.
Texas, right here in our own backyard. Who would have ever thought?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. So I have a very interesting gentleman also. He goes by the name of Curtis Don Brown.
So many names.
And he is from right here in our own backyard as well. He is also from Texas in the Fort Worth area.
Mine too.
No shit?
We're neighbors.
Oh my God! Who would have thought?
What year?
1984.
Oh, so yeah, same.
Get the hell out of here.
Well, let's see here. 84. Mm-hmm.
1984. That's so strange because there was, in my research, which by the way was kind of minimal, they talked about, well, there was some other shit going on in the area at the time, so they weren't immediately able to link this dude to the case. That is an interesting connection. I wonder if both of our guys killing in the same area around the same time impeded the investigations at all. I'm sure it did. It sounded like it on my end.
I don't know, man. This guy...
There can only be one serial killer in this town.
Let me just make sure here.
You're like, never mind, it was 1973. I'm
yeah,
like, what?
In Wyoming?
What?
No. Well, hell.
Well, there's a few things I wanted to talk about first. There are some interesting things going on right now, and unfortunately I have some bad news for our fans to start with. The San Marcos Body Farm, we cannot go. We have to be enrolled in classes, and a few people have hit me up about this already. Unfortunately, we don't qualify. If anybody has any hookups or connections to the San Marcos Body Farm, please let us know. Jimmy and I are still willing to go, although it is definitely the middle of July, and I'm kind of feeling you at this point on going towards the winter or fall.
Yeah, it sucks out here right now, and we're not surrounded by decay, so...
Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
What it is bitch-ass hot is what it is.
Yeah, it sure is. I did want to deliver the news to the fans directly. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, we actually record in a small studio out in the middle of Bertram, Texas. The air conditioning is now turned off.
That is for your listening pleasure, so please take into consideration.
And it is currently 95 degrees, right? So
yeah, it's probably like 7,041 degrees in here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
a
physics guy, but if you've ever, cooked something in an oven.
Chris's breath is really hot, and he uses a lot of it. So it's getting hotter by the second.
I'm long-winded. I would have a Native American name that would be something along the lines of long-winded.
Yeah, speaks like dragon. That's what it is.
Abraham Waterhorse.
I love it. I love that.
The best name we've ever heard. I think, was it on the
it's
Dexter?
But it's not even real. It was Waterhouse, and we were like, no, horse.
And it was like Abram Waterhouse. If you shouts out if you're listening, we love Dexter.
Certainly.
But yeah, we Abraham Waterhorse is what we thought when it flashed by real quick, and we thought it was a funny name, so we're running with it. That'll be my alter ego, Abraham Waterhorse. You're going to have to come up with one for yourself.
Oh, shit.
Equally Native American. So
maybe the listeners can suggest one. Maybe they can.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Let us know. Let us know your suggestions of your our alter ego names. Something else I wanted to talk about real quick before we get started. Okay, so big thing that's going on right now in the world, Area 51. I know you guys have seen this. There is a Facebook event created to storm Area 51. Memes are flying out of control about this.
I made one.
Did you?
I was invited. And I said I would go, but that's
you didn't
the desert.
say you would go. You didn't say you would go. You said you were interested. And here's how yes, you did. Here's how I know that. Because I checked earlier today, because originally it was like 100,000 people, got up to like 500,000 people. As of earlier today, Sunday the 13th, 870,000 people are going, and 1.6 million people are interested, including my very own friend Jillian and Chris.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that. I mean, I hope I'm not on some kind of list now because of it.
It's supposed to take place Friday, September 20th from 3 to 6 a.m. Are you on a list? Yeah, probably.
I'm sorry, Matt.
Here's the thing.
You're my homie, but
is Matt going?
He's the one that invited me to go.
So don't go, Matt. Here's the thing.
See bullets and things.
You're going to have to check into our premium content, which isn't released yet. However, I've been to the area, right? Nah, pun intended. So I've never been on the actual base in the gates, but I have been to the testing ranges that this whole thing is kind of a part of, right? And yeah, I think they would kill everyone. I really personally do. I think that if 1 million people showed up, then, I think Social Security might be saved because we're going to kill 1 million people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so my ass is going to be at the house anyway. I want to support you, but...
All of my Marine friends are like, well, nope.
Just in general, that area of the country is inhospitable to human life. So I'm like, I don't know if I have enough sunscreen available to go to that place anyway.
Yeah, no, it's pretty tough. And you know what Jimmy said? He said we should go and set up a medic tent for charged healthcare after people get shot. I was like, Jesus.
You could probably just sell bottles of water and make $1 billion.
Yeah, for real. And when I was talking about our premium content, I want you guys to check into it because we are going to be doing stories on Area 51 and alien life. Jill, real quick, what are your thoughts on alien life?
I think it's possible. I think that would be, as somebody has said in the past, like a tremendous waste of space to have all of these different galaxies and planets and, whatever. And then we're the only life form that survived that.
Right? Like that doesn't make sense mathematically, right?
No, because there's other planets in other solar systems that are hospitable. They're exactly like this one. Mm-hmm. I want to live there. Or I want the people I don't like to live there. Whatever. I don't care. But I think we should
I'll have a Coke.
Yeah, let's if we're going to be, looking at different border options and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's something that would be an eventuality. I don't know.
Like, let's separate people who want to, whatever,
Do you think the people that go there would be killed? Do you think the government would straight up kill everybody?
To Area 51?
Yeah.
I think it's highly possible.
I do too.
Because they warn you that they will kill you if you go there. So
yeah,
it's not like you're not aware.
And there's different things that are a part of that. I've seen some type of. Okay, so here's the thing: our government plans for all different types of contingencies, right? For example, North Korea. If they strike us in 375 different ways, we have a plan for each one of those. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I have specifically talked with colleagues in the Marines about our contingency plans for North Korea. And let me tell you, they're pretty strong, right?
Right.
We're ready. Like, we're so ready. And like for real. Let me tell you. I think that with Area 51, we're absolutely ready. I think just one helicopter would probably take care of everyone.
I don't think it would ever get to that point. I think that there would be some kind of martial law situation. I think that they would probably close the entry points to get into that area.
Well, it's already blowing up. You think that's going to happen anyway with 870,000 people going and another 1.6 million interested?
I think it would look like one of those scenes from Independence Day where everybody's stuck on the fucking highway looking at the sky and there's all these helicopters and they're like, don't do it. Like, stay there.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I think it would be a situation that would be handled pretty quickly, but I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. Another thing about that, I don't think that aliens are at Area 51. I do believe in the story of Bob Lazar and other people that have come out, and I do think that the aliens the technology is kept at a more secret location. If they don't want us to know about it, we don't know about it. It's as simple as that. It's not like, oh, they're probably at Fort Knox or like hidden behind. We don't know. It's
So,
probably
like,
in like Montana or some shit, you know?
Area 51 is like a decoy, and everything's really at like Area 27 or something. And like nobody knows about that.
When I went to the area, I had to have security clearance, obviously, right? Not even to go on the base, but they basically gave me a badge with a checkered. It was like a checkered kind of grid with different numbers on it. And they clipped out with a hole puncher the areas I would have clearance to go to. And it was basically the middle of nowhere. I do think there could be some stuff close to there. The S4 location, which is, 15 miles or 5 miles southeast near Groom Lake, built into the mountain. I could see that. I would bet $1 million we're not going to find anything. You know what I mean?
My ass ain't gonna find anything. My ass is gonna find it all amusing from the television.
But we will follow. I want to follow this story and provide continuous updates because it's a similar well, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a similar topic, but it has a similar fan base, right? So a lot of people are interested in that kind of stuff.
And to the people I love, don't go there, please.
Don't do it. They'll kill you. They're going to shoot you. They got guns. They got bullets. They got water.
Come to my house and we'll watch Alien on the big screen.
Yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah. That's safer.
All right. So I just wanted to touch on that. And I know a lot of you are interested in banter and some of you don't like banter, but I just wanted to touch on that real quick because it's kind of a current event that's grabbing everyone's attention. So we'll move right into our killers for the day, and we will start with my guy, Mr. Curtis Don Brown. Not a terrible amount of information on this dude, but we'll go ahead and get into it. All right, so Curtis Don Brown. His AKA, by the way, his name was Bandit. That's what he went by, which I think is the coolest name ever for a dog. I really do.
Or like a guy that drives a freaking Trans Am.
Right, with a mullet. You know what I mean?
The bandit didn't have a mullet.
Called Bandit. Bandit has a mullet. His name was Bandit. Great name for a dog. And he was indeed a serial killer from the Fort Worth area around the same time as yours.
Whoops.
He was known primarily for kidnapping, rape, and murder, obviously, of at least 3 victims, but up to 18. And to be honest with you, I think it's 18. He was tied in pretty officially to that. So definitely closer to 18, in my personal opinion. He preferred shooting and strangulation. He was a pretty bold guy in a sense that he had a tendency to grab girls right outside of their apartment, which had me thinking, back to our previous cases, that's so fucking common. I mean, think about it. We had, Angel Resendez did it outside of apartments or inside of apartments.
Oh, you know what? Day before yesterday was the day that the anniversary of him turning himself in on the bridge or whatever.
Of Angel Resendez? Mm-hmm. Oh, fantastic.
Yesterday was the anniversary of him being
apprehended.
Yeah.
By the Texas Marshal, Texas Ranger.
Anyway, carry on.
Anyways, he did that. Carl Watts did it. I mean, pretty much every single time. Sunday Morning Slasher. And Dean Corll basically had this whole operation out of his whole apartment. So he wound up being repeatedly sentenced to life in prison 4 times. Which, we'll talk about, it pissed a lot of people off, and some people were okay with it. But basically, when he was sentenced to life, he was already serving life. So people were like, okay, so what? Like, nothing happens? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of what I figure.
Yeah. Poor Vita, 4 times. He was born September 2nd, 1958, and he stayed in the Fort Worth area his entire life, Tarrant County.
Lucky them.
Traveling's so common, though, I thought that was strange. There was, no information about this guy's childhood. I literally found 1 sentence in all of the articles I read about his childhood. So yeah, he was a troubled teen and constantly was dealing with law enforcement. He had a record, right? Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, his entire life seemed really uneventful and very private. However, it wasn't. Unbeknownst to everybody, he was out there slaying. There were a lot of people dying in the area, and nobody really knew what was going on, nobody really knew where to start. This gentleman, by the way, he's not one. Right? Like, what? Okay. So he was serving time for a burglary charge. He got caught robbing somebody's house, ready to kill him. Didn't kill him, didn't have the chance, but he got caught. And he was serving time in prison for it. While he was in prison, he was brought up on charges for the murder of Jewel Woods. She was a 51-year-old nurse that lived in the area that he thought he had completely gotten away with. And you're going to see this over and over in this guy's life. It was like he got sent to prison for that one burglary and like never got out. Which is great because so many stories that we go through are like, oh yeah, he got it. Like fucking, what was his name? McDuff? Jesus Christ, dude. He might as well have killed a prison guard. And they're like, all right, just don't do that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. So this guy was sentenced to, I don't remember the exact prison term, but he was sentenced to prison for several years for the burglary. And then he's brought up on charges for Jewel Woods, who was killed directly outside of her apartment, by the way. This guy was super ballsy. Did not care. He got convicted of that, and he was sentenced to 20 years to life.
So right? What was his motive? Was he like gonna rob her, or he was robbing her, or he just wanted to kill somebody, and he was like...
So it looked like his primary motivation was usually burglary.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, was it, or was he just getting things as he was planning on killing someone? You know what I mean? Like, I think personally his primary motivation was homicide, and then he happened to collect things while he was there. Mm. So, he had a string of burglary. Well, I should say he had a record for burglary by the time this had all gone down. So that's something he was doing alongside of killing everybody. Mm. He was sentenced to 20 years to life, and get this shit, he's almost out of prison, right? Mm-hmm. He's 19 years in. So good behavior. He's about to get released. 20 years, he's going to get paroled. But he was particularly bad at being a criminal, straight up. He did 19 years... And this was in like 1986 that he had initially gone to prison. Mm. And in 2005, there was a DNA match on one of the bodies from a long time ago. Her name was Therese Gregory, and she was a waitress that had been found floating in the Trinity River with a gunshot wound to the face. Trinity, I know, very Dexter-ish. I know. Were you thinking that to you?
Yeah, briefly.
A little bit. That was back in 1985. They had found her body just several days later, but it went unsolved for this entire time. And then there was a DNA match, right? Mm-hmm. So when Therese's DNA matched, the police knew that Therese was part of that string of homicides. So they reopened 25 cases. They put together a task force that reopened 25 cold cases from the mid-1980s. This is in 2005. Well, guess what, my dude?
What, bro?
They worked on it for 4 fucking years. That's how long it took. And I mean, I don't know what would take that long. I don't know if it's just like there's other stuff going on. It's old shit. The police, I don't know. It took 4 years to build a case. Out of the 25 cases that they looked at, 18 of them had some sort of correlation with DNA in this person. It was tough finding out the details about that, though, because ultimately the police only decided to pursue 2 cases. One of them, really. I'm not sure what would cause that. I don't know if you want to touch on that. What do you think would, first of all, cause the police to build up a case over 4 years?
Maybe just an overabundance of unsolved cases.
Yeah.
Looking to clear some cold cases.
And I wonder if it's related to your guy. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Mr. Green.
That's totally plausible because
that had to slow them down,
They think he was responsible for many more murders than he was found guilty of.
Yeah, same here. I wonder if they knew each other. How crazy would it be if they had met at a gas station or something and neither of them knew they were serial killers?
When was your dude born?
58.
Mine was born in 60.
Okay, so
they might have gone to school together.
Holy shit.
They're in the same county,
nuts.
In the same city.
Yeah.
They could have grown up together.
Wow, that opens so many questions. Like, what if they knew each other? What if this is something
just hear podcast and solving crimes and shit?
You know what I mean? Detective Jillian, Detective Christopher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They must have been like boyfriend and boyfriend. I don't know.
Fucking butt buddies over here.
Speculation. But yeah, it's
really interesting though to think about that. It did take them 4 years to build the case, and 18 of those cases were linked in some way, shape, or form to the DNA of Curtis Don Brown.
I mean, Ricky and Curtis sound like a duo. I'm just saying.
It really could be, especially in the Fort Worth area. Sounds like a Mountain Dew drinking motherfuckers, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. Curtis and Ricky, You know?
Here comes Curtis and Ricky. Getting everybody put your panties on.
Jesus Christ. There was only one or two cases that... So when I say... And really one case. When I say two cases, I'm including Therese Gregory, the one that opened this whole investigation. But really, one case stood out to the investigators. The one case that stood out was Sharon Kilsback. What a name. She's a Native American, right? And it's either Kilsback as one last name or Kilsback middle and last. I've seen it multiple ways. Interesting victim. As little information there was about this person, this name appeared in every single article that I read. So this is really what did him in. And once again, this is another thing that had gone unsolved for about 20 years. Sharon Kilsback, she went missing on March 15th of 1985. She was walking with her friend around her apartment complex, and her friend was like, oh, I think they lived in the same complex, but not together. Mm-hmm. And her friend was like, oh shit, I gotta run home real quick. I'll just come over later and I'll see you. And she was never seen again. So... she was seen again, actually. She was found 8 days later, lying face down in a storm drain, covered and caked in mud, with part of a rope still wrapped around her neck.
That's so disrespectful.
Well, a storm drain's great for tornadoes. Let me just throw that out there.
I don't think she was concerned about tornado.
Oh, not if she was in a storm drain.
Okay.
Anyways,
got nothing for you.
Sorry. She is one of the more famous victims, the most famous victim. As I said, every article mentioned her. She was a Native American that had moved to Texas from the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation with her family. I don't know where that's at. It's either in North Dakota or South Dakota. I've seen both. And she was part of the Sioux tribe up there. I mean, she was straight Native American. That case really bothered everybody, you know. For the longest time, they had no idea what had happened. People in the community were scared during this time. I'm sure your story will attest to that. And her DNA was found in 2004, a year before this task force was put together, but there was no link to it. So when the task force was able to reopen these homicides and link that DNA to the other DNA, they knew that it was Curtis Dawn Brown.
Yeah. And his sidekick, Ricky.
Yeah, it took him 4 years. So 2008, they wound up indicting him. Thanks, Obama.
What?
I don't know. So he was, you know what I mean? So he was indicted in 2008. The trial took over a year, and in 2009, he was sentenced to life in prison, followed by life in prison while he was already serving his life in prison. So the count on the, USDCJ, the United States Department of Criminal Justice, whatever, his records on the site list his term as 5,000 years, which is interesting. Nice. I've seen other life cases listed as like 400 years.
Yeah, I think my guy had 400 years.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So I was like 5,000. I was like, damn, bro, 5K, you're killing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
oh man.
I'm sorry for my insensitiveness. I just try and get through things with humor. So it is what it is. But yeah, so that's the story of Mr. Curtis Dawn Brown. He is indeed still alive, and he is currently housed at the hospital unit in Galveston. So he lives in a prison ward, I guess. It's like a prison hospital that he lives in with several other inmates, Alberto Marlin, Spencer King Jr., Frank Walston. Obviously, he's in there. It's mostly like, let's see, there's Danny Daniels. He's a murderer that's in there, but it's mostly, aggravated assault charges, people that are still in there. Dennis Ray Avery, John Paul Galbraith, Thomas Adrian Boyd. There's a bunch of people in there.
Well, he's only got 4,800 some odd years to go. 900 and something years.
You know, slowly but surely, he's knocking them off. That's really it, you know what I mean? He was a brutal guy that lived a secret life, and, he wound up getting caught up. And I think the most interesting thing about this is that he initially got caught for the burglary, and then before he was ever released of that relatively simple charge, he never got out of prison, and now he's serving 5,000 years. So, unless he's like some type of alien from Area 51.
Way to wrap it back around.
You know what I mean? Tie back.
I wonder if
he's fucked. He's absolutely fucked. So let's go into your guy who very well may be this guy's best friend for all I fucking know. I was looking in the list of the unit to see if they like were together. Wouldn't that be something?
I wonder if we could actually like do some research and find out their addresses, where they grew up, and maybe what schools they went to and things like that.
I couldn't find shit about this guy's childhood.
Really?
I will attempt to look deeper. But yeah, that would be really interesting to know, because we did not know that these were basically related cases when we picked these, and I mean in the same area, in the same time frame. We did not do that intentionally. So
no, that's pretty
this is
crazy.
The first we're finding out that they're homeboys.
Yeah, they could have like rode bikes together and shit.
Dude, they probably spray painted neighborhood cats together. They probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, isn't that normal?
No.
Good thing I was kidding. Weird.
Yeah.
All right, let's
my
move
eye on
forward.
you.
Let's go ahead and fast forward just a step here and move on to Mr. Green.
Yeah, we're gonna go talk about Ricky Lee Green.
Ricky Green. These are some Mountain Dew drinking motherfuckers. Let me tell you.
Faux show.
Bushwhacking.
NASCAR. Ricky was born.
NASCAR.
Nothing disparaging towards NASCAR. If you like watching the cars in the loop.
We like the crashes, Jill. We're just fucking patient about it, all right? Damn.
Maybe a demolition derby is more your speed.
Long live Earnhardt.
Ricky was born December 27th, 1960, okay? His life started with nothing but torment. I almost feel bad for him if he wasn't such a
I'm
jack
telling
off.
you, dude, all of these people, like, not all of these people, but some of these people had it fucked as kids, and, like, it's no wonder they turned out the way they did.
Yeah, I mean, they don't say anything about his mother at all. As far as I can tell, only his father was in the picture. He'd have been better off alone. No shit.
That sucks.
His father, from the time he can remember, his earliest memories, was cruel to him, beat him, berated him, told him he was useless, he would never amount to anything.
I mean, kids are dicks sometimes. I'm just kidding.
So,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not really like this.
yeah, but when he was 6 years old, his father put him out on the front porch and said, "All right, boy, run." And he ran down the stairs, and his father proceeded to shoot him with BBs the whole time.
Okay, so that's a little much, right?
Yeah, and he was too little to outrun them, so he got hit every single time. And when he called him back up to the porch, he was like, "Maybe you ought to learn to run a bit faster, don't you think?" That was like his.
Was he like an
consolation.
alcoholic or some shit? I mean, that sounds fucking
probably.
crazy.
Yeah. When he wasn't with his father, he was with his father's father.
Grandpa.
He would go to stay with Grandpa, who regularly sodomized him from
Jesus
the
Christ.
time he was a baby.
Okay. So, going out on a limb here, I'm assuming that's probably what happened to his dad, too.
Probably. I mean,
This whole
torment.
family's completely fucked.
It's a cycle. There's been plenty of science to prove that, somebody grows up like that. It's not always concrete in every case. Some people grow up and be, they're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, not fine, but they're not
Murderers.
murderers. But you're more likely to commit crimes like this if you've had crimes committed against you like this.
It doesn't seem like any of our cases had normal childhoods.
No, not usually. There's a few cases in history where it looks like they might have, but you never know. I mean, even Ted Bundy, he was like, "I had a fine childhood, blah, blah, blah." Mm-hmm. But then...
That's a good, yeah.
The story behind him is... So his grandparents raised him and he grew up believing that his mother was actually his sister.
Interesting.
And then one day she just married some guy and was like, "Well, he's actually my son, so we're going to move away." And so he had a pretty fucked up upbringing.
You have some interesting details about Tedward Bundy.
Yeah, there's
that a lot of people don't know.
That's probably pretty
Which is saying a
common
lot.
knowledge.
No. Some of it is, some of it's not. What was the thing you and your mom were talking about?
I don't
There's
know.
something that your mom knows about Ted Bundy you were telling me.
It was Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer, just kidding. Anyways, whatever. So moving on.
Yeah. Ricky Lee. Ricky Lee Green.
Ricky Lake.
Oh, no. Wonder what she's up to these days. Not much, I'd wager.
Bagels and cream cheese.
So in February of 1984, which Ricky would have been about 24 years old, he actually got married. He married a woman named Mary. Yeah. Didn't see that coming till it came out of my mouth. Their relationship was basically relied solely on sex. But he considered Mary to be the closest thing he'd ever had to a normal family. But it didn't last long. I mean, all things considered, with him saying that, it was like 2 months.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Yeah, that was quick.
That doesn't qualify.
No. He suspected that she was cheating on him, and he became very depressed, and he started drinking heavily. And then one day, Mary came home from being out, wherever she was. It just says out. And she came in the house, and Ricky was sitting there drinking. He was drunk. And he pulled a knife on her, and he raped her. And
his own girlfriend?
His wife.
Okay.
And then he passed out because he was drunk.
Strange, yeah.
And then she immediately packed her shit and hit the highway. Like, she was like, nope, that's enough for me. I'm done.
Yeah, sounds about right.
She never came back, ever. So, a couple weeks after his wife, Mary, left, Ricky met a woman named Sharon Dollar. Another Sharon. Yeah. So he met a woman named Sharon Dollar, and they immediately started partying together. It's the word I'll use. Like, their first night together was just drugs and alcohol, sex. Yeah. So, within 3 days...
Rock and roll.
Right.
We're the Yardbirds.
Yardbirds. What?
That's from I think I said that in our first episode.
So their first night together was partying, drinking, sex, drugs, whatever. They were just stuff. Hardcore shit.
Right.
Within 3 days, Sharon was like, hey, why don't you move in with me? And he was like, yeah, all right. Okay, let's do that. So he moved in. It's reported that Ricky was actually happier than he had ever been in his entire life when he was with Sharon.
Well, he was high.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know.
Sharon. I've seen Sharon, okay? I'm just saying.
Okay. Not so trophy worthy, I guess. I mean,
now get this shit.
Okay.
Sharon, this is where I find out that Sharon's just a tad fucked up too. Okay?
Okay.
So, during a sexual encounter between Ricky and Sharon within a few weeks after they met, in the middle of sex, Sharon jabs him with a pin in his winky. Like, she pokes his wiener with a pin.
First of all, you have to have...
Unacceptable.
Two things. Wow, that's disturbing. And wow, that bitch has aim like Robin Hood. Because, you got to be good.
I don't know.
To be a dick stabber?
To be a dick stabber.
Wouldn't it move out of the way? I guess if you grab it and then penetrate. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Guys typically don't shy away when you reach for that area.
That's true, but...
nobody expects that you're going to stab them in their junk, so
yeah, that's
they're
true.
Like, here it is, do what you will. And
can you imagine the forensics on that? This came from a bic.
A bic? No, it was like a pin, like a...
Oh, God, like a safety pin?
Yeah, like not a P-E-N,
no.
A P-I-N.
Terrible. What a rude person.
A pin in the peen.
Damn, pin. Pin pineapple, apple peen.
So called... What is happening? Oh, Ricky Pin Ping.
Jesus Christ.
Pin Ping.
Ricky fucking Pin. So,
that's not where the debauchery stops, okay?
Okay.
So she pricks him with the prick, and then that was totally a slip of the tongue, and it just happened to work out.
She pricked him in the prick with a prick. What a prick.
Welcome to Dr. Seuss Hour.
You know what I mean?
So
Snuffleupagus.
Ricky initially objected, as one would.
You think?
And then she started sucking the blood from the wound, and he was like, okay, well, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
And he was like, all right, whatever. He's like, I guess she likes blood. I don't know.
What a dumbass.
Yeah. So, at one point, Sharon goes out of town for work or something.
Good.
Yeah, little Vampirina, get the fuck out.
You know what I mean?
So, Ricky invited an acquaintance to come hang out with him. But it's a weird choice of an acquaintance. It was a 16-year-old boy named Jeffrey Davis.
Okay. Quote unquote acquaintance. All right, Dean Coral.
Yeah, so Sharon's out of town, and Ricky and Jeffrey decide they're just going to ride around. And you'll find this is a popular thing in small towns to just drive around or whatever, and Ricky did a lot of this, okay?
Okay.
So they drove around town just to kill time, chat, hang out, whatever. Ricky pulled over, according to Ricky, he pulled the car over to take a piss break, okay? So he gets out of the car.
Okay.
And when he comes back to the car, he gets in, and 16-year-old Jeffrey, according to Ricky, is over there just, like, tugging his shit. Like, going to town.
Okay.
Rubbing one out. And so, Ricky was like, the fuck, mate? You know? And so Jeffrey's like, hey, you want to give me a hand? And he's like, I ain't into that shit.
Yeah.
And so he whooped his ass. Like, he beat the crap out. Pants down and all.
Okay. I have a hard time believing that. But
Right. Blood flew back into the back window of the car. So, according to this guy,
For those
Ricky.
little treat for those regular listeners.
Yeah. So, Ricky took off driving again, and every once in a while, Jeffrey would complain about him beating his ass, and he would carry on beating his ass again. He's like, every time he said something, I whooped his ass some more. And so, eventually, it got to a point where Ricky got so pissed off about him bitching and complaining that he pulled over in like a secluded area. He got out, he beat his ass again, and then he stabbed him to death.
Oh, boy. So question. Was this like something that happened often, or was this all over just one event?
This is one event.
Okay, so he was like, you beat my ass. All I was doing was trying to jack off.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was like, shut up, bitch, and beat him up again.
Exactly.
Well, all he was doing, beat him up again.
Man, you really hurt me. I'm going to keep on, you know, like...
You don't know pain until you've had a prick in your prick.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Beat the shit out of him and then stabbed him to death.
Stabbed him to death with a pocket knife, and then...
Probably the same knife that he used to rape his own wife.
Probably so. This little handy-dandy fucking... What do you call it? Swiss Army knife?
Handy-dandy pocketbook.
Yeah.
Pocket knife. Pocketbook.
So, he took the same knife, and he totally removed Jeffrey's pogo stick.
Damn.
And he chunked it out into a pond that was near where he dumped the body. I don't know
Fish
why.
are like, what the fuck?
Like, yo, it's a hot dog. Wait a minute. Caught me on a corn dog. I'm a dorkfish.
Fucking corn dog with a flotation device attached to it.
So, that's the end of Jeffy there.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no kidding.
Jeff. So, Sharon comes back to town, and things progress in their relationship, and they get married.
Okay.
Yeah, Ricky and Sharon forever.
Yeah.
So her name is now Sharon Dollar Green, which
Sharon
sounds like
Dollar
a
Green.
fucking...
Yeah, something movie
sounds-
star, like a B-list.
I was thinking more like a practical joke. Like, Dollar Green. It sounds like a fucking dollar store chain.
Yeah.
Come on down to Dollar Greens, you guys. Half price sunglasses.
Half price pricks. You know what I mean?
We can get a whole 1,000 safety pins for $4.99.
They're used. Half off.
Oh, shit. So, they got married September 20th. Happy anniversary.
Hey, September 20th. That's when the Area 51 thing's going down. Yeah,
Oh,
happy
shit.
anniversary indeed.
Now, shortly after their marriage, Ricky was driving around town, revisiting that. He must have had, like, seriously good gas mileage. So, Ricky's driving around town while Sharon's at work because, obviously, he didn't know what to do with himself alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. So, he's driving around town, and he comes across a woman named...
Margaret.
Montana.
Oh, close.
Which I think is a super cool name, but fucking Miley
Hannah
Cyrus
Montana.
ruined the fuck out of it. Like,
Dude, I love Hannah Montana.
well, you do you, boo boo.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I used to have
stand it.
I think I had a crush on her. Maybe was it Hannah Montana, or was it
Hannah Montana is her alter ego.
I think that was after my time. I think it was a different blonde girl that I liked.
Oh, you're probably thinking of Hot Hillary Duff.
Hillary Duff. I remember Hillary Duff, and then there was whatever. All them blonde bitches the same to me.
I don't know. Yeah, pretty much. Britney Spears, whatever.
Yeah, I remember Britney Spears. I remember the poster.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
She was like the Farrah Fawcett of your time.
sticky poster that was. I'm just
Ew.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
So Ricky pulls over and he offers Montana a ride. And he goes, hey Montana, why don't you come to my place and you can like take a shower? It's, you know, it's kind of warm out here. You can get cleaned up and have a little food.
I can relate with that right now.
And Montana's like, fuck it, let's do it. And so
Okay.
she climbs in and they go to the house. So remember, Sharon's at work the whole time. Montana gets in the shower.
How old is Montana? Probably young.
20 something.
Okay,
like,
okay.
19 to 24, somewhere in that area, I think.
Okay.
So Montana's taking a shower, and Ricky just comes in the bathroom and opens the shower curtain. He's like, hey, you want some company? And she was like, okay.
You trying to get the dick?
She did. She
Yeah.
found all of it.
She's like, why is there a hole in his dick?
What an interesting freckle. So they conducted business in the shower and then moved it to the bedroom, okay, while Sharon's at work.
Okay.
Now, I'm thinking if I'm Sharon, I'm like, who this bitch?
Of course, right?
Not Sharon. Sharon Dollar Green is a special kind. So, after they have sex, Ricky's like, hey, I gotta go pick up my wife from work. You want to tag along? And she was like, okay. Montana, dude.
Jesus.
Just be like, hey, I'll be here when you get back. How about that? And then maybe not be. So Montana's like, sure, why not? So she gets in the car and they go to get Sharon. Sharon comes out of work and she sees the girl in the car and she's like, that's interesting. And she gets in the car. They go home. So when they get home, Ricky proposed maybe they have a threesome.
Yeah.
And Sharon's like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And
really?
yeah, and Montana's like, okay.
Very
Poor
cool.
Montana. Sharon shows up in the buff, naked in the room. She comes in there and Montana's like, never mind. I don't know what the fuck she saw, but she was like, I'm gonna pass.
Really?
Yeah, she changed her mind completely. She's like, I'm just gonna go. And they were like, nope, sorry.
After seeing
no
Sharon
takes
naked.
backsies.
No takey backsies.
Listen, Montana, we don't do Indian giving shit around.
You went liquor.
You promised. So, she was no longer required to present permission. They did what they wanted.
Wow.
She fought. They tied her to the bed. They began to do all this stuff that they do. And then Ricky actually got pissed off because she was fighting so much. So he drug her in the bathroom and attempted to like hold her over the sink and like sodomize her.
Oh, wow.
And as he's doing that, Sharon's happy little ass goes to the kitchen and gets a knife.
Of course.
And comes back and just, without warning, plunges it right into Montana.
Really?
Ricky is the murderer in this story, and Sharon's the one that just made the first,
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And so Ricky...
Match made in heaven.
Right. So Ricky goes into the other room and goes into his pants and pulls out, guess what?
The knife.
The pocket knife.
Yes.
He comes in there, and they just both take turns stabbing the crap out of her.
Okay.
And then Ricky leaves again, and he goes and gets a hammer. And he comes back, and they take turns beating her in the head. He does it 3 or 4 times, and then Sharon's like, let me try. He gives her the hammer, and she does the same thing.
Wow.
So they stab and beat her to death in their bathroom floor of their house. And then they're sitting there just like looking at what they've done. And there's blood all over them. They're all naked. And Ricky just kind of reaches out and grabs her breast. Like Sharon's, his wife's. And they start immediately having sex in the middle of this giant puddle of blood with Montana's body like inches from them.
Jesus.
Yeah. So.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty glad you did this one, though.
Yeah, I was like, the whole time I was typing this shit out, I was like, what?
Yeah, for real.
What?
That's absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah, how do you encounter people that are like that when you're like that? I have a hard enough time finding people that are in the same movies I'm into. Like,
yeah, and that seemed like it was kind of unexpected because she had no idea. Sharon had no idea that this shit was going down with Ricky in the first place, right?
Yeah, she had no idea that she was there. I don't know how he knew that she would be cool with that. Maybe it was the
vibe thing, you know what I mean?
Pin in the peen.
Pin in the peen. Pin pineapple apple bean. Doom, 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 doom.
Those aren't words.
That's a song. The pin pineapple apple pin. Oh yeah, it's a dumb thing, but I know our fans know what I'm talking about.
All right. So after that, they basically cleaned up the bathroom. They loaded Montana in the trunk of the car, and they went to some kind of a hidden location and disposed of her body.
Yeah. I was gonna say, how do you go about cleaning the bathroom in that type of situation? I mean,
how
does one?
They probably stuffed her into a garbage bag and drug her out to the car, and then went in there and Windex. I don't know.
Windex.
I mean, that's a hell of an advertisement for Windex.
Windex and Comet.
Yeah, Comet.
Can you imagine Mr. Clean just like cleaning your murder scene or something like that?
Comet will take the soul off of your body. So like, I can imagine. Like
Comet's
work. Like, hey, you know them fingerprints you've got? You better use some gloves if you want to keep them hoes. Like,
maybe I don't.
That shit, it's like rubbing shit with bones. Like, it's not going to stay.
That's fucking crazy.
Comet freaks me out, and it smells real strong.
Sure enough.
It's strong enough to clean up even the toughest crime scenes.
I would love to see a commercial for a murder crime scene. I mean, as fucked up as that is, I would love to see that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you have a Dexter in your household?
I've actually looked into crime scene cleanup companies, like working for them.
Yeah, that's interesting. We used to have a dude in the family named Ross, and he would do, what was it, Service Pro or Service Master or whatever, and he did professional cleanings, and occasionally We would hear stories about crime scenes. I don't think he did any, but he was in kind of the same field, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And yeah, that shit was absolutely horrendous sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would get old pretty quick.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, wow, this is really interesting. And then he'd be like, wow, this is really disgusting. I don't want to do it anymore.
We had, no, I completely agree. I don't know how you would do that. Remember we had that fan the other day? You had posted one of the stories of the day on Facebook, and somebody posted that real estate listing, and it was the house of the murders. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went through and, was looking at the pictures of the house, and it was so difficult for me to imagine, like, dude, where did these people die? Like, what room were they in? You know what I mean? And I tried to, like, feel the aura of it, and there was, like, a picture of the living room that was a bit darker. And I thought to myself, is this where it actually happened? Like, how crazy would that be to tour a house not knowing, that, you know what I mean? Christopher Walken, people were killed in the house. So
I watched
you know what I mean, though?
Yeah. I watched a video of a crime scene walkthrough the other day from a crime that happened in the 70s or 80s.
I've never seen a video like that. I would love to see one.
It was pretty messed up. I mean, they walked in, they're like, so this is so-and-so, and you can see the blood spatter on the wall. She obviously was killed in this spot.
Like, it was, like, narrated? Was the body there?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the bodies were there. The cops were walking through. They left everything exactly the way it was, including the water was running in one of the bathroom sinks, and they left it running.
Well, I would probably turn that off, but okay.
Yeah, that was just driving me crazy the whole time. I could hear the water running. I was like, such a waste. I hate waste. You know this about me.
Yes, I absolutely do. All right, so back to Mr. Green. Sorry, we got to finish up Mr. Green here.
So after they dumped Montana's body, actually, one night, Ricky decided to get another victim.
Of course he did.
Yes. Sharon went to work. Ricky went out to this club that he frequented, and he ran into a woman named Sandra Bailey.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bailey.
Close, but no cigar.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Sandra Bullock was probably busy, and she couldn't go out that night.
Perhaps.
Yeah. She was probably here somewhere.
Miss Congeniality over here.
Yeah, she wasn't hanging out in a dive bar.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure. Let's do it.
So he picked up Sandra. I almost did the wrong name.
Picked up Sandra.
He picked up Sandra, and he took her home to his house. Sharon was already home by that point, and I guess she kind of knew what was going to happen.
Okay.
I don't know if they talked about it ahead of time, but when he came in through the door with Sandra, Sharon was sitting there waiting on them.
Okay.
And they basically did to Sandra what they did to Montana.
Same thing.
Same thing. Stabbed her, bludgeoned her to death, and then had sex on top of her corpse, essentially.
What a weird couple.
But I guess maybe Ricky was like, I don't have to be stabbed in the peen anymore, so there's other blood.
Yeah, true.
I don't know what the deal is, but they did the same thing, and they dumped her in a secluded area and went on with their lives.
Wow. And I need to know, and maybe you're getting to that, but out of curiosity, were these bodies found?
I don't remember.
Okay, it's not what led to the demise of Ricky Green, though, huh?
No.
Okay,
so after the murder of Sandra Bailey, Ricky actually went out to find a third victim. It'd be fourth at this point, right?
Well, third for the couple thing, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth, including the 16-year-old boy in the beginning.
Right. That wouldn't stop beating his meat.
Yeah. So Ricky beat it for him.
Yeah, damn hoodlum.
So this is the murder of Stephen Pfefferman. Okay?
Definitely sounds like a Dr. Seuss character.
Stephen Pfefferman was actually he worked with the news station.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So Ricky and Stephen met in a parking lot that was frequented by homosexuals.
Okay.
Stephen asked Ricky if he'd like to come back to his apartment, and Ricky was like, okay. And so they went back. So they went to Ricky's house, right?
Okay.
Or no, Stephen's house, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So they went to Stephen's house. When they got back to Stephen's apartment, Stephen began to fondle Ricky. Okay?
Okay.
And then he abruptly stopped. I guess he was expecting there to be intercourse. So
You got a hole in your peen.
that was an interesting birthmark.
Hey there, peen hole. What's going down?
I like holes in peens.
I like holes in my peens. Mm-hmm.
So Steven stopped and he was like, I'm going to go jump in the shower real quick, so just hang tight. I'll be back in a few minutes.
I'm gonna go wash the duck butter off my taint.
What? I don't even know what to say to that.
You ain't gotta say shit, girl.
That's new on me.
So which one was gonna go shower?
Steven.
Okay,
Steven
in his own
Pfefferman.
apartment.
Yeah. Okay. So Steven goes and takes a shower, and when he gets out of the shower, he finds Ricky is in his bedroom. And he's like, all right, whatever.
I don't think that's weird at this point.
No, so Ricky goes, hey, I got an idea. Why don't you let me tie you up, and we can do it, and then you can tie me up, and we'll do it. And
Very reminiscent of the Bayou Killer.
yes,
Not a fan.
no,
I feel like he would just masturbate over him with a tiny penis in a jar full of mayonnaise. All honey boo boo. I don't know. That's some honey boo boo shit. Anyways.
So Ricky proposed that Steven allow Ricky to tie him up, and they would have sex, and then they would take turns, and then basically Steven could tie Ricky up next.
Okay.
And Steven was like, okay, why not? Sure. He pulled a Montana, and he was just like, whatever, I'll go with it.
Yeah.
So as soon as Ricky got Steven tied up, Ricky started talking about how much he hated homosexuals, and he thought they were disgusting, and berating him, and bullying him, and yelling at him, and then he pulled out his
Pocket knife.
and started stabbing the crap out of him. That
Oh,
wasn't
man.
sufficient to kill Steven.
It was probably a Swiss Army knife then.
He went to the kitchen and got another knife. He went to the kitchen and got another knife, and he came back and he continued to scream at him and stab him some more. And then he cut him from his throat all the way down to his genitals.
Oh my God.
Cut him wide open. And he still was not dead.
Jesus Christ.
So as he's sitting there gasping for air and dying, Ricky's still screaming at him, and his last act against Steven was he cut off of his genitals and he stuffed him in his mouth to quiet his moans and cries.
Oh my God. I have heard about this, I think.
Yeah.
That is fucking crazy.
Brutal.
As he
Very
died
brutal.
with his own genitals in his mouth.
Yeah.
Wow.
He basically was like, shut up, I'm
As he
tired of
bled
hearing
out.
you, and he
Yeah.
stuffed his stuff in his mouth. Which is a lot more traumatic than having your peen picked with a
Yeah, that's bad.
pricked with
That's
a prick,
real
prick,
bad.
prick.
That's really, really bad.
Yeah. So Ricky then proceeded to take some items from his apartment. Before he left, he like robbed him, like low-key robbed
After he
him.
was dead.
Yeah, he took some money and a few other things, and he left Steven's body there to be found later. This is the first one he didn't hide. He
Yeah.
just left it where it was. Ricky proceeded to leave. He went home, and Sharon was home, and he told her everything that happened. Every gory detail. And she was like, it'll be okay, it's fine, just forget about it. She like comforted him and all this. But within the following months afterwards, they both started drinking more heavily, using drugs more heavily, and they started to grow apart. Mm-hmm. So eventually Sharon packed up her things and she just took off.
Surprise, surprise, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't hear much out of her after she left, but later on, Ricky came outside of his house and it was surrounded by police.
Oh, boy.
Sharon spilled the beans.
Sharon the snitch.
She snitched him up good.
Yep.
He was charged with capital murder for the killing of Steven Pfefferman.
Wow. So it was she snitched about that one in particular.
Yes, the
She
one
was
she
like,
wasn't
I
involved,
wasn't involved in. Yeah, exactly.
But she admitted to all the other crimes too. Guess what she got charged with? Guess what her sentence was for her involvement?
I don't know. I can only imagine.
10 years probation.
No jail time?
No.
At all?
At all.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of dick sucking deal?
Some shitty shit.
She's like, if you don't let me go, I'm gonna put a hole in your pain.
Yeah.
That's actually, I would say, unbelievable, but we've seen so much shit with McDuff getting released every 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, she turned him into the authorities, and for her cooperation, she got 10 years probation.
Okay.
And he got 3 life terms for the women that he killed.
Jeez.
Well, the 2 women and the 16-year-old boy.
Talk about gender inequality.
Yeah, and then he got sentenced to death by lethal injection for Pfefferman's murder.
Pfefferman.
Pfefferman.
That sounds like a Dr. Seuss character. The Snuffleupagus and the Pfefferman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Pfefferman sounds like a familiar name to me.
So where's he? Do you know where he's housed at? Is he still alive?
No. Okay, so Ricky also confessed to other murders.
Okay.
He confessed to killing a 28-year-old woman named Betty Jo Monroe from Amarillo. She was a topless dancer, and she was hitchhiking to Fort Worth in October of 85.
Okay.
He copped to that one. He said he picked her up and he stabbed, mutilated, beat her in the head with a hammer.
Jesus.
When the authorities asked him, like, why did you kill these people? He was like, they deserved it. They were like the dregs of humanity. Like, they didn't deserve to be
Okay, Dexter,
alive.
calm
Right.
down. Yeah.
But there are many other, at least 8 other cases that fit his MO.
Yeah. I wonder if that's tied to the investigations from my guy.
Right.
Because they had that task force that opened up 25 cold cases, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's at least 8 that they really highly suspect him of committing because they were stabbed with a small knife. They were beaten, so-and-so. Like, their genitals were mutilated or their penis removed or whatever. There's a lot tying.
And I'm sorry for being considered the bad guy in this, but I think jokes from this come too easily. Hey, Sergeant, we got a hole in the pane. You know what I mean? This fucking ice truck killer. You know what I'm saying?
Goofball.
I'm a goofball, but I mean, it's true. It's something that was happening. It's pretty fucking disturbing. I just use humor to get out of it, but that's really disturbing.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I'm glad there's no kids involved this time.
That's true. That we know of. I mean, he had 8 other murders, so that they know of.
Yeah, that they know of. And, with my guy, 18 of the murders were basically 18 of the 25 cold cases were tied to this individual, but they only had enough evidence to pursue one, which really, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if he wasn't already in prison, they would have tried a little harder to pursue more, but... they pursued 2, which was a direct DNA match for Therese Gregory, and then, of course, Sharon Killsback for the second one. But, it's amazing to me to think that out of almost 20 cases, they weren't able to pursue more than 2,
Right.
That makes me feel like the amount of victims is even probably more than those cases bring up. It's probably 30 to 50.
Yeah. Well, he confessed to the murder of Betty Jo long after he was already convicted and on death row. And I think it was probably one of those tactics where he's like, if I give them more information, then they have to put off my execution because they have to open a new
My guy did
case.
the same thing. So he confessed in 2005 eventually. And I don't know if it was his cooperation in avoiding the death penalty, which did work. He got 5,000 years instead, which...
Walk in the park.
I don't know. So that brings me to another thing, right? There were some people, some victims' families... that were upset by his, they were like, he's already serving life in prison. 2 more consecutive life sentences means he did not get punished at all. He's already not getting out. But at the same time, is a life sentence more of a sentence than death?
Right.
There's that whole thing. Which one's worse? Of course, there's the taxpayer burden, but I mean, that shit's going to happen anyway, I feel like life would almost be worse,
If they have a conscience, if they have to suffer with their, the actions.
Touche, which most of them seemingly don't.
Yeah, anyone who doesn't feel remorse for their crimes probably are still conducting crimes inside, and they don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. They're not learning anything from it. They're not suffering with nightmares or, regret.
That whole thing that Sister Helen was talking about, right? Yeah.
Some of them are just straight up, psychopaths or sociopaths, and that's why they're able to do these things to begin with.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially the real brutal ones.
So, do you think death is worse than life?
I mean, yeah. From my opinion,
for you, it would be.
Yeah, like I would not lose any sleep knowing that this guy was executed. Like, it does not bother me.
No, but I'm saying if you were sentenced, what would you prefer?
If it was me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, probably death, just because I can't imagine spending my life day after day after day looking at the same walls. Like, I get antsy just being in my house for 2 days in a row,
Yeah.
So if it was like,
well, don't stab anybody in the peen.
I will not.
And then you might be able to avoid that.
I plan on living free as a tax-paying citizen can.
Yeah. So what happened to this guy? He got sentenced to death, lethal injection in the state of Texas.
Yep. He was only 36 years old when they executed him.
Oh, so he wound up in Huntsville. When was he executed?
He was executed 8.5 years later in October 9th, 1997.
Interesting.
Yeah, lethal injection. And I have his final statement here.
Okay, what is it?
He says, I want to thank the Lord for giving me this opportunity to get to know him. He has shown me a lot, and he has changed me in the last 2 months. I have been in prison for 8.5 years and on death row for 7. I have not gotten into any trouble. I feel like I am not a threat to society anymore.
Society.
I feel like my punishment is over, but my friends are now being punished. I thank the Lord for all he has done for me. I do want to tell and then the lethal cocktail took over and he never finished his sentiment. So
They
were just
guy.
like,
Go ahead and push that shit, bro.
they were just pumping him the whole time. And then they got to that, I want to tell the truth about, and then they were like,
And he just passed out.
yeah, he
Wow.
faded out.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Typically, I think you have 2 minutes to recite your final words.
I think maybe they had enough. I mean, he was like, oh, I feel like I'm not a threat to
And they were
killed,
like, okay, buddy.
You killed at least 5 people, probably like 15 people,
Yeah.
12 people, something. And he's like, it's been 8.5 years. I think I'm over that part of my life by now. You guys should just let me go because
Wow. Go
my
ahead
family's
and push
gonna
that
suffer.
drug.
And that's what kind of like tripped me out a little bit. He's like, you're just punishing my family and friends. And it's like, who the fuck are these people you're talking about? Like your dad and your grandpa that raped you and beat you and shot you? Or like your wives that left you and turned you into the police? Like who are the loved ones that you're so concerned about? Like it just...
Touche.
I was like, who's mourning you, dude? Like
They just went ahead and pushed them drugs.
oh yeah, they were straight up looking for a vein while he was running his mouth. I'm sure of it.
That's nuts.
But, you know,
So he was killed, 97, huh?
yep. They exacted their revenge on behalf of his victims.
So that is so funny because I just realized our killers' names are Mr. Green and Mr. Brown.
This is too fucking weird.
It is weird,
We
right?
need to make like a mini series.
What
Mr.
if-
Green and Mr. Brown and their adventures.
Have like a funny ass like opening credit music like the Jeffersons or some shit, right?
Oh
You know
my
what I mean?
god. Yeah, there's too many coincidences. They had to. I mean, they were both colors. Like
They were both colors. They both probably went to the same school in the same time frame. They were both serial killers. They both got caught. They were both bad at it.
I wonder if their daddies drank Pabst together,
They had to. They had to.
like
Hey,
out sitting next to
say, Tommy, let me borrow that baby gun. I gotta chase my own kid down.
sitting next to a pile of like old tires with a pile of beer cans.
It's
next to
probably
it.
more realistic than we're thinking.
Yeah, you think so? You think,
Yeah, I do. I
Like
really do.
they encountered each other at swap meets and shit. And
Well, especially back then, they've probably. What if they were getting gas at the same gas station at one time and they had no idea about each other, or you know what I mean? They've had to cross paths at least once. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean,
What if they looked? What if they walked past each other and looked into each other's eyes and they were like, "Is that one the same?" You know what I mean? Like, can you
that's
imagine?
so crazy?
Yeah,
Like, if they
absolutely.
could pick each other out. I wonder if they could. I mean, not to bring up Dexter for the 90th time, but he can tell. You know what I mean? He's like, "Are you the same kind of monster I am?"
Exactly. And I think that it's very possible.
Maybe that's how Sharon and Ricky found each other.
It was a
They're
smaller-
the same kind of monster.
Yeah,
They
same
recognized
kind of
the
monster.
same monster in each other.
Oh
That's
man,
trippy as shit.
it is. But I mean, I do think that about wraps it up for today, right? We have Mr. Green, we have Mr. Brown. So cool.
They're
Both from
camouflaged as motherfuckers.
These motherfuckers are fair junk camo. Damn, boy.
We need to call them that. We need to call them
so
fatigues.
we'll call this episode Fatigues. You know what I mean? Mr. Green and Mr. Brown.
Yeah, we need to definitely name the episode that. Fatigues.
Okay, so if you don't know what we're talking about, you will now.
Yeah.
Obviously, a couple of our fans know what's going on, right, Mark? But other than that, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So that's the story of Mr. Green and Mr. Brown, both from Fort Worth, both at the exact same time, mid-1980s, 1984, 1986.
Same ages.
Same ages,
Same
probably
fucked
same
up families and
school,
childhood.
same weird-ass names. Which we both didn't know about until now. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up with that, and we will keep you updated on anything with Area 51, and we want to see how that goes down, obviously.
Yeah, I will keep my eye on that from a distance.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a
From
lying ass
distance.
hussy because I am not going. I said I was going,
I
but
was like 1.6 million, including Jillian Gentry. Okay, it was like my friend that was interested in going. I was like, I'll talk to her later.
yeah.
Don't do it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We'll have a premium episode on aliens in Area 51, maybe a couple episodes regarding that because it's such a big topic. We appreciate you guys so much. We're in the middle of setting up some business plans as far as our premium content, so please continue to be patient with that. We will have it available. I know we've been hit up a lot with people that are willing, and that obviously excites us, but we want to get it right the first time. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. We love you. Find us wherever you find your podcasts. We are now on what? We did a new...
Podcoin.
We're now on Podcoin as well.
Shout out to the guy who requested us to get on Podcoin.
Yep, we are now there. So thank you, Jimmy, very much for
Yes.
always, having us on the back end. And we will see you guys next week for episode 14.
Nobody gives a shit about my contest. It's like it disappeared, like no interest whatsoever. It's like a fart in the wind. It's just evaporated.
We did have a contest on Facebook for a Photoshop thing, but I know everybody's lazy, so it doesn't surprise me. If you're good at Photoshop, let us know. We have a funny contest going on right now where we'll shout you out on the podcast, and it's basically Photoshopping a funny picture from Friends to put a killer in there. So
It can be wherever you want. If you want to Photoshop them at the beach or on the moon or Area 51 trying to get in or whatever you want to do, like
we'd love to see some feedback.
Yeah, we just need some giggles.
Yeah,
Lighten it
absolutely.
up.
We are about at 6,000 followers right now.
I've lost 4 pounds in this room today.
Yeah, me too.
Like I'm about to evaporate completely.
We're at about 6,000 followers right now. We can't wait to get till 10 and keep growing, obviously. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Toodaloo, weirdos.